It's time that we talked about what's going on with Julio Rodriguez, because as talented as he is, and don't get me wrong, he is extremely talented, he's also got one fatal flaw that the league has figured out how to use against him. Julio got his career off to a great start, winning the AL Rookie of the Year in 2022 and helping lead my Mariners to their first playoff appearance in over 20 long years, and even though his numbers dipped a little his second season, he was still very good, but he's looked like a shell of himself so far this year. Through his first 22 games in 2024, Julio has been far from what we expected, and that's even with him heating up a bit lately. Only 3 of his 24 hits have been for extra bases without a single home run yet, and there's one thing about his game that really jumps out at you in a bad way, and you don't even have to look all that hard to find it. If we just take a quick peek on Baseball Savant and go down to his percentile rankings, man, there's a lot of red on there, but no, that's not good. See, Julio's the type of player that has everything you're looking for physically. Listed at 6'3" and 228 pounds. He's big, he's fast, has a cannon of an arm, and hits absolute piss missiles. But that's if he hits it. As great as his physical tools are, what Julio's been missing has been the tools between the ears, at least at the plate, and this is what's really cost him and frankly kept him from using his unbelievable swing to its fullest. What I'm talking about is your approach at the plate, having a plan every at-bat, every pitch even, and being able to execute that plan so that you're giving yourself the best chance you can against the world's best pitchers, and this is what Julio's been missing. So let's talk about plate approach real quick. When it comes to your plan at the plate, you want to make sure that early in a count, if you're gonna swing, that you're getting something you can hit well. You want to let any balls or tough pitches go and try to work the count in your favor until you've got 2 strikes. Then you need to be ready to defend the zone without expanding it and at least give yourself a chance to put something in play. There's a lot that's going on every single pitch, and people want to say baseball is boring. On Baseball Savant, the main stats and percentiles you can look at to get a quick understanding of a hitter's plate approach are strikeout percentage, the percentage of plate appearances that a hitter struck out, walk percentage, the same but for walks, whiff percentage is the percentage of swings where the hitter didn't make any contact, and chase rate, the percentage of swings on pitches outside the strike zone. With these, we can get a rough idea of a guy's approach. You have patient swing and miss guys that strike out and walk like Kyle Schwarber. You have overly aggressive contact guys that don't strike out or walk like Luis Arraez last year, and a lot of the best hitters can do at least 3 of these 4 things very well. But then we get to guys like Julio. All around, this has been the clear weakness in his offensive game. He's overly aggressive, leading to a ton of whiffs, so he strikes out a bunch and never walks. And this year's been the worst we've seen from him because pitchers have figured out how to use this terrible approach against him. Julio's always been ready to swing. In the zone, out of the zone, first pitch, doesn't matter. He's got that bat in his hands, so damn it, he's gonna use it. And it's been basically the same story this year. So if he's pretty much doing what he's always been doing, then why has he been doing so much worse? A lot of power guys tend to have some swing and miss. Even the top guys like Matt Olson, Aaron Judge, and this wouldn't be a baseball video if I didn't throw in Shohei Ohtani for no reason. And Julio's no different in this case. But when you also add in how aggressive he is, now we have a big problem. And while the swing and miss part of Julio's game hasn't been very good, it usually hasn't cost him too much until this year, because pitchers have figured out how to attack him and set up these chase pitches so that when they've gotten him to chase out of the zone, he hasn't been anywhere close to touching them. So pitchers have changed up their game plan on how they're gonna attack Julio. So what exactly are they doing different? Well, overall for righties, it's been switching out the 4-seamers for more sinkers and less sliders for way more sweepers. And the lefties have made it real simple. Fastball. Blast him with heaters and do not throw him a changeup or a sinker where he has just another split second and can get his hands extended. Now let's break this down a little more. Let's start with the right-handers, and for the first pitch, they're absolutely refusing to throw Julio a 4-seamer. Instead, they've been blasting him with sinkers and throwing in a couple less sliders like they did last year while adding more sweepers to maybe get a chase or 2. If Julio happens to get ahead, which hasn't been often, He's seeing less four-seamers and sinkers, instead getting a heavier dose of breaking balls and cutters going away from him, but more often he's been behind in the count, where now pitchers are still sprinkling in some fastballs, a few less sliders, and more sinkers like the year before, with a couple sweepers in there as well, with the fastballs in the zone about half the time, but the breaking balls have been nowhere close. Then once he gets 2 strikes, this is where they're bringing the heater, while still mixing in sliders and a few more sweepers, and more often than not, they're trying to get him to chase these, especially the sweeper. Then for the lefties, the strategy's been real straightforward. Literally. First pitch 4-seamer right at him. If Julio's ahead, 4-seamer right at him. And when he's behind, it's still the 4-seamer, but now we get some sliders to chase too, and they're mixing in some changeups and sweepers. And with 2 strikes, we see a bit more of this mix as well. Still a ton of fastballs, but he's also getting some changeups and sweepers to chase, cause they're nowhere near the strike zone. Looking at the way pitchers have been attacking him this year, we can see what they're trying to do to him, and it's been pretty obvious that these plans have been working. Righties are either fine with him hitting a sinker into the ground early, he has a 200 average and slugging this year on sinkers, and if he's gonna hit it hard, you'd rather that be on the ground, or they're gonna try to get him to swing through some breaking balls, and he's gotten a bit better at this with the sliders, but that's why they're throwing more sweepers, cause he's whiffed over 40% on those every year of his career so far. They're giving him just about everything but that 4-seamer that he really wants, until he's behind, and especially when he has 2 strikes. Cause now that he has to be more defensive and he's seen more of a guy's slower pitches, those fastballs he's usually only whiffed on about 20% of the time and hit pretty well. He's been whiffing 25% of the time this year, and he's had a way tougher time squaring them up, hitting them about 8 miles per hour slower this year. And lefties who tend to throw more changeups against right-handed batters since they go away from them, well, they saw Julio crush changeups for a 679 slugging off them last year and went, well, we're not doing that shit again, so they're just refusing to throw it. And if they do, they've made sure it's nowhere near the strike zone, and he's still chased almost all of them. They've basically said, if you want to hit our fastballs or maybe a breaking ball here and there, then fine. But we're not giving you the pitch that you want to hit. And so far on the few changeups he has seen, he hasn't put a single one in play, and he's whiffed on over 85% of them. 2024 hasn't just been a bad start for Julio Rodriguez. Hopefully it's been eye-opening, because again, no player is perfect, everybody has parts of their game they can improve on, but when you have a clear weakness in your game, the league will take notice. You're going against the best players, coaches, and front offices in the world. These guys are smart, mostly. And if you have a hole in your game, they're gonna figure it out and take advantage of it. Remember early in his career, Mike Trout struggled with high fastballs, so pitchers hammered him with those until he made the adjustment. And that's where Julio's at with this right now. Pitchers have clearly figured out how to attack him, and now it's on him to make the adjustment so they can't keep doing this to him. And I honestly think that he can. I've seen him take some really good at-bats and good takes. He just needs to pick his spots more and just kind of chill out, which like a lot of young players try to do too much. And that's why the first place I'd start with him is dealing with all these chases. Pitchers don't want to go right at a guy with as good a swing as Julio has, and if they can get a strike on you without actually throwing a strike, they're gonna do that all day. So if they're gonna pitch around you, then let those balls out of the zone go. Get yourself in some good counts and then take advantage when they do have to come in the zone and they give you something a little too good. It's so much harder as a hitter to be ready for anything and everything the pitcher could throw you and trying to hit it all out of the park, instead of trying to hit the pitch that you're looking for and ready to hit. That's why every hitter in Major League Baseball is worse with 2 strikes, because you have to be ready for any speed in any location, and that's really hard to do, especially with the stuff that guys have nowadays. If you're willing to swing at anything close, you're gonna be trying to hit a lot of really tough pitches and counts that you don't need to, and that's why the vast majority of Julio's hits so far don't look very good, because he was swinging at something he has no right to. Wait for your pitch so you have a much better chance at doing damage, and only swing at those pitcher's pitches when you have to avoid striking out. Cause man, I'm so tired of seeing him swing out of his shoes on something nowhere near the zone on the first pitch of the at-bat. And you know what? even if he doesn't really fix his plate approach, all this doesn't mean that you can't still be a somewhat good hitter. You're gonna have those stretches where pitchers are making mistakes and you just run into everything. Hell, Julio set a record last year with 17 hits in 4 games. In his first 2 years, he's had an OPS over 800 each year. As long as his swing and physical tools are good enough to where he can crush almost anything he happens to get his bat on, this hitting style can work to some extent. Hell, I found a 2-time All-Star that's still playing that had a stretch from 2017 to 2021 where he averaged an 815 OPS and over 30 homers per 162 games. And that's counting a terrible 2020 season, which we all know, especially Dodgers fans, doesn't really count. And looking at this guy's percentile rankings during that stretch, yeah, very similar hitter. Max exit velo shows a ton of pop in his bat, even though I'd say Julio has more, but no plate approach whatsoever means he didn't get to use his power quite as consistently as you'd like, but he still had a pretty good run here. So who is this guy? No. Let's hope that's not what happens to Julio. I'm a Mariners fan, I want to see this dude succeed, and I think he can make some adjustments at the plate, or at worst, this guy's got some insane physical tools that he's going to be able to rely on for a while. But I'm curious what you think will happen. What do you think about all this in Julio Rodriguez? Does he make any adjustments, and how do you think he does going forwards? If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and for more baseball content like this, you can check out the video on your screen now. Thanks so much for watching and supporting the channel. Have a good one. Later.